uh, two things are heading towards you at the same time. And I want you to understand something about the nature of this convergence before we go any further, because it is not coincidental. It is not two separate pieces of good news that happen to be arriving in the same window by chance. What I am feeling is something more connected than that. Two threads that have been moving independently, each on its own timeline, each gathering its own momentum, are now approaching a point where they meet, where they intersect, where the arrival of one is actually connected to, and in some cases, directly caused by the arrival of the other, a financial blessing, and a call that is going to shock you. And Virgo, when I say shock, I mean it in the specific, breathtaking, I did not see this coming, and yet somehow it feels like exactly what was supposed to happen sense of the word. Not the shock of something unwelcome, the shock of something so good, so precisely fitted to what you have been needing, that your nervous system does not quite know how to receive it cleanly all at once. Stay with me, because this reading carries the kind of warmth that I want to make sure reaches you in its entirety. Let me begin by speaking to where you currently are, financially and energetically, because context is the foundation of everything that follows. There has been a pressure, not necessarily a crisis, though for some of you it has felt close to that at certain points, but a pressure, the specific grinding quality of financial uncertainty or financial limitation that colors the texture of ordinary life in ways that most people who have not experienced it do not fully appreciate. The way it affects decisions that should feel free but do not. The way it sits in the background of your days, sometimes quietly enough to almost forget it is there, and then suddenly loudly enough to drown out everything else. You have been navigating this pressure with the specific grace that is your signature, managing it, keeping things functional, making the kinds of quiet, invisible decisions that people make when they are working with less than they need, the decisions that require calculation and sacrifice and the specific kind of dignity that comes from refusing to let financial difficulty become financial despair. That navigation has been costly. I want to name that clearly and without softening it before we move into what is coming. The cost of sustained financial pressure, the energy it takes, the ways it narrows your sense of what is possible, the specific weight of carrying it without making it everyone else's burden too, is real. And it has been real for you for a period of time. That period is ending. I want to describe the financial blessing specifically, because the word blessing can feel vague, and I want this to feel concrete and real. What is coming is money that arrives through a channel that may surprise you. Not through the most obvious route, not through the thing you have been most actively working toward or most directly expecting to produce financial results, through something else, a channel that you may have set in motion at some point, perhaps a long time ago, or that exists at the edges of your current financial landscape rather than at the center of it. This is the quality of a blessing as distinct from simply a paycheck. A paycheck is expected. It arrives through the agreed upon channel at the agreed upon time in the agreed upon amount. What is coming does not have that predictable, scheduled quality. It has the quality of something that arrives and makes you take a breath because you were not tracking this particular source, we're not counting on this particular channel, and yet here it is, real and present and significant. The amount matters. I want to say that directly because sometimes financial readings speak about money coming without addressing whether it is meaningful at the practical level. What is coming is meaningful at the practical level. It addresses something. It changes something. It does not simply supplement the current state of things, but actually shifts your relationship with what is financially possible for you in a way that you are going to feel in your daily life. Let me speak to the different forms this blessing might take for different people watching this, because I am feeling several distinct possibilities, and I want you to be able to recognize your own situation in this reading. For some of you, this is connected to work you have already done, something you completed, contributed to, created, or delivered at some point that is now generating a return you are not actively tracking. A delayed payment, a residual, a share of something that you were part of creating and that is now being distributed in a way that reflects its actual value. The blessing here is in the return, in the proof that what you invested your time and your effort into was worth more than what you immediately received for it. For others, this is connected to a decision you made, an investment of money, time, or energy in something that did not produce immediate visible results, but that has been quietly developing, and that is now reaching the point where what it has been developing into is ready to manifest in a tangible financial form. For some of you, this blessing comes directly through another person, someone who has been in a position to do something for you financially, whether through their own generosity, through a decision they control, or through following through on something that was promised or owed, who is now actually doing it. For others still, this is an unexpected discovery, something that reveals itself to you, an account, an asset, an entitlement that you did not know existed or did not know the full extent of, that turns out to be more valuable than you realized. All of these carry the same essential quality. Money arriving from a direction and in a form that produces the specific, slightly breathless response of someone who was not fully prepared for this particular good thing in this particular moment. Now let me speak to the call, because this is the piece that came through with the most vivid, most immediate, most urgent energy, and I want to honor that urgency by describing it with full specificity. Your phone is going to ring, or a message is going to arrive through whatever channel this person uses to reach you. And when you see who it is, something in you is going to stop, not from dread, from the specific quality of stillness that happens when something you have been waiting for, perhaps without fully admitting to yourself that you were waiting for it, finally shows up in a form you can actually hold. The person on the other end of this call has been carrying something toward you for a while, moving through their own process of deciding what to say, how to say it, what the right moment is, what the right form is for what they need to communicate. And that process has reached completion. What they say when this call happens is going to be shocking, not because it is bad. It is going to be shocking because of the specific combination of who it is coming from, what they are saying, and the timing of it. The combination of those three elements is going to produce a moment that you are going to want to sit down for, a moment that is going to require you to take a breath before you respond, a moment that, looking back on it from some point in the future, you are going to identify as one of the moments that changed the direction of something in your life. Does this feel like it is connecting to something, Virgo? A person whose name came to mind the moment I started describing this call? A financial situation that you have been navigating that the blessing I described might address. Let me know in the comments. I want to know how this is landing for you. I want to speak to the connection between the financial blessing and the call because I feel it is important and will help you understand the full picture of what is arriving. For many of you, these are not separate. The call and the financial blessing are expressions of the same underlying shift arriving through two different channels but originating from the same source of movement in your life. The call produces or confirms or is directly related to the financial development, or the financial development is what creates the conditions for the call to happen because something in your circumstances is shifting that makes what is being communicated in the call now possible or now relevant in a way it was not before. Think of them as two faces of the same thing, two visible expressions of a single underlying change that is occurring in your life right now. Understanding that they are connected rather than treating them as separate coincidences helps you receive the full significance of what is happening, because the full significance is larger than either piece on its own. Something is changing in your financial reality and in a significant relationship simultaneously. And the simultaneous nature of this change is not random. It is the expression of a broader shift in your life that is reaching the point of external, visible, tangible manifestation. Inhale. I want to speak to something about joy because the title of this reading promises it, and I want to address it directly. You are going to be happy when this arrives. Genuinely, fully, not managing it into something smaller happy. And I want to give you permission for that happiness before it even arrives. Because I know that there is a part of you, the protective part, the part that has learned to keep its expectations managed, that is going to want to immediately qualify the happiness when it comes, to find the asterisk, to identify the thing that might go wrong, or the way this might not be as good as it seems. I am asking you in advance to resist that impulse, not permanently. Your discernment is a gift and it serves you well. But in the first moment of receiving what is coming, in the immediate experience of the call and the financial development landing in your life, before the analysis and the protection and the management of expectations kicks in, let yourself simply be happy. Let the full wave of it move through you. Let yourself feel, without immediately converting it into something more cautious, what it feels like when things genuinely go right, when the thing you needed arrives, when the person you needed to hear from calls. Let yourself be happy, Virgo, completely, without reservation, for however long that happiness wants to last before the more measured, more analytical part of you takes over. You have earned that happiness, and it is on its way. I want to speak to something that I feel sitting underneath everything else in your energy right now, something that I think is part of what makes this incoming news so significant beyond its practical content. You have been questioning things, not dramatically, not in a way that has produced any visible crisis, but in that quiet, interior way that Virgos question things when the evidence of their daily lives is not fully aligning with what they believe should be possible for them. Wondering whether the gap between where you are and where you feel you should be by now is going to close, whether the effort you have been putting in is actually leading anywhere or simply maintaining a position that is not changing. What is arriving answers these questions, not in the form of a philosophical response or an internal realization, but in the most concrete, most undeniable form available. External evidence, real world confirmation that things are moving, that the effort has been building towards something, that the position is changing and changing in a direction that is aligned with what you have been working toward and hoping for. The questions you have been sitting with quietly are about to receive answers that you can see and feel and hold in your hands. As I bring this reading toward its close, I want to speak to what this moment represents in the larger story of your life. Every person has periods where the evidence of their outer life does not match the quality of who they are, where the circumstances around them are smaller than their actual capacity, where what they have access to does not reflect what they deserve based on who they are and what they bring. You have been in one of those periods, a period where the gap between your actual worth and what your circumstances have been reflecting back to you has been noticeable, even painful at times, even as you have continued to show up with your full self and your full standard regardless. What is arriving closes that gap, not permanently in the sense of nothing ever being difficult again, but meaningfully, significantly, in a way that creates a new baseline, a new floor beneath your financial life and your relational life that is higher than the floor that existed before this blessing and this call arrived. And from that higher floor, the view is different. The options available to you are different. The version of your daily life that becomes possible from that floor is genuinely, materially, experientially better than what has been available from where you have been standing. You are moving to a higher floor, Virgo. The call and the blessing are the elevator arriving. Get ready to step in. If this reading resonated with you today, please share it with a Virgo who needs to feel this energy right now, and leave me a comment below telling me how this landed. Tell me which piece hit harder, the financial blessing or the call. Tell me what you are feeling as you sit with the possibility that both of these things are genuinely, really, actually on their way to you. I read every single word you share. Every story matters to me deeply, and I carry your energy with genuine care long after this video ends. Until next time, Virgo. The blessing is real. The call is coming. The happiness waiting for you on the other side of both of them is everything you have been patient enough to deserve. And you have been so very patient. Now receive.